up with a web hosting tutorial in which we have already made this file, which is actually serving running on the local server, that is actually WAMP, and we are using MySQL database for it. What we have done is actually made a simple form like here, and then it inserts the data into the database of MySQL with the ID equal to something which will be entering here, which will be a primary key, and another thingy is actually the val, which is actually the value which you want to insert it. So it suggests that we have made a two-column table, and into that column we are actually inserting the data, and that data which is actually being updated is shown here in this div. So the file for this program is actually here, and it is just a one-page kind of website. And I will let you know that how to make this kind of responsive form in another tutorial. You can see it's responsive, a bit responsive, and these kind of forms are good for the different sizes and can run on mobile and web too. So let's actually try running. I will actually insert 0 in the ID value and say val1 in the val value. And if I hit enter or say or press and submit, it will be inserted, and a message will be shown saying that 0 comma val1 are inserted. And if I try submitting that stuff again with the ID is equal to 0 and something, anything any value, then I try, it will be not inserted because ID is actually having a primary key that must be actually unique for the different values. So if I try with ID equal to 1 and value equal to say val 2, then it must insert and the data will be shown here. So it is actually running on the local server, that is I am using WAMP here. It is here the WAMP, and I must actually show you the structure of table. For now, where is my PHP MyAd? Yes, here for default the password is root, and here is I'm using the database that is actually DB, and the table name is actually T1, and accordingly my queries must be modified if I change the table name into 000 web host. And yes, here are two fields, that's actually ID and the val. So these are the two data which we have entered, and there's first column which is actually having ID name, ID heading, or the column name is ID, and the second column is actually having the name val. So that's actually the structure of our table. And if I see table T1, so this is actually our structure, and if I go to our structure panel, I can actually see the structure of different tables inside the database. So ID is actually having an integer type, and the val is actually having a var type, and it is actually a key. ID is actually being a key here, and the val is actually another value here. Okay, so this is how it works. You can see this. Okay, so we are gonna actually host this whole page into 000 web host, and we will actually start with logging into 000 web host so that you can actually get a complete gist of how do we used to upload things when we have completed our website development on the local server. So we will go to 000 web host. A screen like this will appear. It will say for login or say make an account. So we will make an account here. We will make an account here. So login with Google. Okay, I have already made already an account, but I think I must actually create an account also, yeah, so that you can actually get a complete gist at actually how to actually work with all these. Mm. Okay, it is taking some time. And I have used another ID. Right, it is actually a new thing, is a new website, and hadn't been signed up by that website, so it will create a new account for me and will assign me a new account on the 000 web host. Okay, so I want to actually deploy a website, yeah. So what I will do is actually create a website, create a web design. Hmm, I will be choosing others. Okay, it supports Chrome. but I can actually do the same stuff on uh, this also. So website name, I must give a website name here, right? I must give a name. So I will give, say, tutorial db. You can choose any name here, and then for the password I will choose a password, say anything, say I can choose any password here. Okay, so I've chosen a password. You can choose take any password here, and it will wait for some time. Okay, so the website name is actually incorrect. I must use hyphens. Hmm. It must actually be verified for my account. I must actually verify for. No. Okay, I don't need to actually verify, it has already verified my account. Otherwise, it actually sends a confirmation mail to your website, to your ID whenever you actually try to log in or say create a new account. Then it actually sends you a confirmation mail, verification mail, which you need to verify. Otherwise, it won't allow. There are some security measures followed in triple zero web host, so you must actually follow all of them and must verify accordingly, and otherwise it won't allow. But in my case, I just logged in Google, and it hadn't shown me any issue. So what I want to do is actually I want to upload my own site. I have already created a site. I want to upload it and make it working here. So you can use a web builder here, which is actually an AI based builder, and also the WordPress, which is very famous for making the website by drag and dropping. But I want to actually deploy my own site, which is actually running at localhost. This seems like something like this. Okay, so I will go to again here, and I will select this, upload your site. So what you need to do is actually upload your whole content. My content will be actually in the triple zero web host, my WAMP directory, that is actually www. And in this public.html, public underscore html document, I need to actually paste that, or say upload that that my php file, index.php, what I have made there. So I will actually use this button here. Let's actually upload files. I will select this, and I will select the files from my computer. I have only one file for this project because this is a very small project. And in my computer directory, I will go to this C WAMP64 directory, and in the triple W directory, I have this file here, which is actually a single file here. You can also upload multiple files if the one file is actually dependent on another, and you will upload all the files in this public underscore HTML directory, right? This is actually thunder.php thingy. I need to rename this one to say, okay, mm, I need to rename this stuff with index.php, otherwise it won't consider it to be the main file of your website. So if I name it like index.php or say index.html, then it will consider that file to be your main file of your website, and your website will be working. But now we have another database connectivity also in our file, so it will raise error, right? It will raise error. So these are actually your website. This is actually your website, and if I try to actually see my website, it is actually that they provide. It will provide you a link by which you can actually see your website running. So if I type this there, okay, there are troubles. It will actually take some time to get my website running. Indexes PHP is actually here. I think it must actually show me. Hmm. Is working on that file manager. Yes, in the public HTML directory I have index.php. Hmm. Okay, on the code here. And if I run, okay, there are some issues. I need to figure it out. Yes, this is running. This takes 1 or 2 seconds to actually allocate you space in the server. So, okay, so there are errors, and yes, there will be errors because because you hadn't created the database of your site, and also you need to modify what are the settings, or say that username and password according to what the username and password has been given to you for the database connection. So for that, you need to actually create a new database in your website. I will go to the manage website option here, and we'll find the link for handling the databases. So these are the tools. This is a file manager through which we can upload our files from computer to this website portal. And then I will go to here, tools, and then in the tools I have this database manager. By default, there is no database, I think. Yes, there is no database. I need to create a database, right? I will name my database as web host, or it will give me a name with the ID. And now a username will be, okay, web host, right? Any web host, and then password will be mine. There is, okay, there must be, okay, 174. These both must be different according to the terms and conditions of this particular web host. And then password can be, okay. The field is too short. I can use. Okay, it is also wrong password syntax according to what it wants me. So I can use something like simple one. Mm, okay, it is having problems with it. Show password. It has actually given me this password. Okay, no issues. I just need to copy it up so that I can use it in my file. Now it will take some time to actually create a new database. It is showing this progress bar to actually create a new database. Taking so much of time. But by the way, in the meantime, I can actually make changes in my indexes PHP. Right? Where is that indexes PHP? I've already copied. I have already copied that one. That's actually okay. I've already copied the password, so I will use that password there. And talking about the username will be this one to actually connect to your database in your MySQL file. For example, my file was using the MySQLi object for actually connecting to the database. And on the XAMPP, it is usual that MySQL server runs on the 3306 port, but this will actually run on the local host, right? Because here is actually instruction that you can use the local host the connection as a host name, because it actually runs it on the default localhost port. So I don't need to actually mention the port, but for in the case of my WAMP, I was using 3306. And for the username, I will use this username, and for password, I will use that password which I was actually using. By default, on the WAMP, I was not using any password for the connection, but here I need to actually use a password because it actually connects you with the password. Now, see, I need to actually copy this user also. I will copy this user here, right? It has copied, and the localhost 3306 will become localhost, and thus the connection line will become something like this one. I need to actually copy this stuff into that my website folder. This is actually file manager, right? I will go to file manager, and I will say upload files, and it will take me to that file manager. right? From where I have already uploaded the index.php, and I will modify that index.php. Nothing else is actually required. Sometimes there are some issues with it, but for now it is working fine. I will go to index.php and I will go to that line which is actually connecting me to a database. Where is that line? Yeah, here. I will go to here and I will paste that stuff, right? They're actually connecting to the local host with this ID. It's actually this user and this password, and done. And this password, and this is actually the database name with which I want to connect to database, right? I will save and close this also, and let's see. Now I have actually I must be actually connected to the database successfully, right? I must be connected with the database, but there will be still some problems because there is no database called DB in my database. There are some different database, so there will be errors but lesser, right? There will be errors but lesser. So what I need to do is actually manage my database. I need to actually manage my database through the PHP MyAdmin. So I will go to manage. I will go to the PHP MyAdmin, and I will say see the name of my database. So it is actually redirecting me to PHP MyAdmin. I can see that my database name is actually what the name but I have seen there also. So I can just copy this stuff up, and I can change the database name to say from DB to that name. Okay, so it has copied this stuff also. I need to actually remove it. So this is my database name, and yes, now I need to create in this database. Where is this one? Files. Where are that files? I can actually manually change this one already here also. I don't need to actually copy that stuff again and again from there. What happened? It sometimes hangs. 000 web host is not so much robust. It hangs you reader receive sometimes and also requires password sometimes. But no need to worry. We can always go back and always can come back to this point. Uh, where is the DB? Yes, here is the DB, and I will paste this stuff, removing the database operations, and next will be actually your database name, which is actually created automatically by 000 moves, and I will save this and close this. Okay, this is actually closed now. uh, Managing my database via this, I will create, there are no tables in this by default because it doesn't create. So I will name this table as T1, and I will insert two columns in this as far as my database, so it was actually at web. And I will say something like go, which is actually a button here, and then I will go ahead and name the first column name to be ID and the second column name to be val, as what I have kept in my WAMP server for my WAMP server. And in that key index I will choose primary because I want to make the ID to be a primary key, and it's working. I can go ahead and say go, so it will actually create this table. I will say save. So this will actually create a table T1 for me, which have these attributes. I can insert database here also, but I can insert that from my website also. So let's try. Let's wish that no errors are there. Okay, let's see. Inserting 0 and then val. Okay, so I will go ahead and hit enter. Okay, what what are the problems? Okay, it is actually having some problem. So what might be the problem is that I must had not given any say action attribute to my form to actually say that my own script will process myself. Means what are the values of the forms will be processed by my script only. So I just need to go to that form, and I will say like action is equal to, and name of my current script is actually index.php. I will hit save and close. So it will hit save, and yes, let's go again to my website. Now I will hit submit. Okay, still the same. I don't know why. What can be the problems? It also sometimes takes time, but that doesn't seem to be an issue. Okay, I think I need to go from the main page to my website. Hmm, it is still showing some errors. Undefined index ID on the line 102. Undefined index. Okay, it is for the first time that it is not defining because it has already not been came here from a submit buttons pressing. It has came here from a get request from the client, not from being processed. So I can actually try this. Some issues. Let's resolve them.